Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Curious Owlbear, and I'm here to explore everything Dungeons & Dragons, including history, lore, monsters, DM tips, map making, and more. If at any point you find that you've learned something or you're having fun, consider giving this video a like as there will be more videos to follow. As many of you already know, Dungeons & Dragons is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game developed by Gary Gygax and released in 1974. Currently published by Wizards of the Coast, the game's rulebooks establish the basic structure by which players and dungeon masters can forge their own adventures. These books, along with Dragon Magazine issues, novels, and online publications, also describe the Forgotten Realms where the campaign modules take place. If you're new to Dungeons & Dragons, these campaign modules are a great place to get an introduction. They teach new dungeon masters the essential skills they'll need to craft their own worlds as they run players through a pre-written story. You can order the campaign modules online or pick them up at a local comic book shop. Now to finally get back to the subject of this video and the reason you probably clicked on it, the history of the Forgotten Realms. In the many years since adventurers began exploring the world, great happenings, and new editions of the books, have shaped and reshaped major historical events, which make it difficult to follow the rich history of the game. Veteran players will know that there are several major timelines, including, but not limited to, the Dale Reckoning, the Mulheron Calendar, and Cormyr Reckoning. I hope to craft a single timeline from the events on each of these calendars, which will give us a clearer understanding of where we are in current history. Before humans or elves, before the creator races, and even before much of the pantheon of deities had formed, there was no written history. There is, however, a creation myth, which explains the formation of the world of Abeir-Toril and the Forgotten Realms. Since there is no written history from any characters within the game at this time, this is simply the myth told to young children in the Forgotten Realms as parents try to explain the world around them, similar to ancient Greek mythology. In the beginning, the endless expanse of the void was populated only with a thin, effervescent mist. One being, which mortals dared to name Eo the Overgod, had the idea of existence, and eventually, the mists within the void coalesced to form Shar and Selûne, twin sister deities who were polar opposites. Selûne was warm and bright, while Shar was dark and cool. Over time, the twins gave more thought to the idea of existence and created a form. Selûne touched it, and life spread throughout its being, forming the first world. But it was incomplete as it was nothing but a set of ideas. Shar and Selûne began to argue over whether to grant the new world the necessary elements for life, and their struggle birthed new deities of life, love, death, magic, war, and sacrifice. These new gods took sides, joining in the conflict between the sisters. During the long battle, Selûne reached across time and space to grasp a small piece of the elemental chaos. It is said that the elemental chaos had existed as long as the astral sea, but it was unknown to most of Abeir-Toril at this time. As she took the stuff in her hand, it siphoned a large portion of her life force and burst into flame. She set it into space as a sun, whose rays warmed the new world. Shar sensed the awakening of life on the world and attacked her injured sister. Again, Selûne sacrificed herself, tearing the divine essence of magic from her being, and attacked Shar with it. The magic tore through Shar, ripping some of her essence from her being as well. This act gave birth to the goddess of magic Mistral. Though Mistral was comprised of both sisters, she preferred the goddess Selûne, who had sacrificed so selflessly. She allowed Selûne to win a truce with her wrathful sister, who immediately vowed revenge. Selûne retired to the astral sea, while her sister disappeared into the darkness of the world. The magic sacrificed by Selûne and torn from Shar became the pure magic that is the basis of spells in current times. This pure magic is harmful to mortals, as we will later discover, so it is mediated by the weave which Mistral oversees. As time passed, the power of both sisters waxed and waned as other ideas took form as new deities. During the first battles, however, the deities were distracted, and thus the world was vulnerable. Waves of elemental chaos brought great beings from the unknown. Their true names have been lost to time, but they are currently referred to as primordials, and their leaders were known as the Lords of Chaos. It is said that the primordials found imperfections within the world the twin sisters had crafted. They took some of the darker aspects, casting them away to become the Shadowfell, and some of the lighter aspects, which became the Feywild. The gods took notice of this, and began to oppose the primordials, and so began the Dawn War, which will be the subject of the next video. I hope that you've enjoyed our look at the Dungeons & Dragons creation myth. I'm leaving links in the description to a beautifully written version of the myth, along with some other videos that tackle this subject. If there's anything I missed or anything that's new to you, let me know about it in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, adventurers.